So in this presentation, I'd like to talk to you about what lies beneath your surface. This is your internal compass. And Maureen talked a lot about this, so I'm glad to be following you. And really how that connects with the outside world, with the external world, with everything else. What's your relationship with it? I hope during this presentation that you think, actually, there's more levels that I need to delve into within myself in order to understand more about the external environment. With a show of hands, how many of you think that your connection with the external environment, that you can connect more with it? How many of you think that the external environment is important to connect with? We've already had a presentation about independence and interdependence, and this is why this subject's really important. The world has changed, and it's changing rapidly, and I think we're all seeing the effects of it. 30 years ago, most of our interactions and transactions were face-to-face. Things that took 2 weeks now take 2 seconds. It's frightening, really, isn't it, that we're all trying to keep up with the pace of change. But you can't keep up with it. This is one of the points of my presentations. It's actually not to keep up with it, but actually to find your own path. So technology is accelerating, and because of that, our connection with the external environment, with everything else, is constantly evolving and moving, and we're constantly trying to make sense of it. So I'd like you to kind of pause a little bit on that. I'd like to ask you, why is it important to you? What's important to you about the external world? What are the things that connect you to the external world? What are the things that are meaningful to you? Things like, obviously money is one of those. We've spoken about money. That's one of the things that we transact with. It's not something that's internal. It's very much external. So, shout out a few other things from the external environment, your understanding and importance and relationship. Can you think of anything else like money? Friends from the external. Without our friends, without those relationships in the external environment, then, we'd be very sad people. Maslow's hierarchy tells us how important those relationships are. So anything else with the external environment that it's important for us to engage with? Your phone, yes, definitely. We have an intimate relationship with our phones, often more so than with our friends, because actually in order to speak to our friends, we often speak to our friends through our phones. Nowadays, with the internet, we have friends all over the world. We have people that know us intimately because of our phones. But it is still something internal. But it's actually thinking about what's our relationship with these external things. There's also, our careers as well. Housing is quite a topical political thing, but that's important to us for our security. So I'm sure there's lots of things that you can think of how we have a relationship with the external world. We're constantly having a relationship with the external world. Our focus is around that relationship with the external world. But I actually want to bring it in a little bit. When I was 15, I was told by my careers advisor, a teacher in the school, he told me that I wasn't intelligent enough to do A-levels. He said, your mum's a nurse. Why don't you become a nurse? That would be good for you. So do you work in Littlewoods? Some of you might remember Littlewoods. On a Saturday in the kitchen. Why don't you become a cook? That would be good for you. I remember that really clearly because it's one of those kind of defining moments where you can actually decide to accept the external stimulus about who you are and how you're going to define yourself. So hands up anyone else that's actually been blocked by the bullshit of other people. Yeah? Quite a lot of us. Yeah, a lot of us. Too many of us. But actually, we're always going to get that external stimulus from people. It's their perception of the world, it's not yours. That's what you need to understand. It's actually got nothing to do with you. It's what people put on you. And you can choose to accept that. Of course, at 15, there was so much going on at 15. You know, I didn't know the external, internal, none of it. But it did get me to question two things. One about my relationship with the external world, the perception that other people have of me. I didn't even know who I was and what I was going to do, but actually someone else that didn't really know me already had decided what my capabilities were. They already had a perception of what was good enough for me. So that was one thing. I didn't have enough information to completely refuse it, but I just thought that didn't sit right with me. And then the other thing was me really exploring who I was and what was important to me and why it was important to me. These are really important questions we have to ask ourselves, and we have to continue to ask ourselves that as well. But at 15, you know, it came and it went. But that was certainly a defining moment for me to start to question my relationship with the world, the external world, my internal relationship with the external world. Do you know, I read some research recently about how the digital world is changing our neuropathways. And especially with young children, there's quite a bit of research about how their decision-making, how their brains are changing. And actually, it was Chris Small, a neurologist, said that there's a chasm between the brains of a young child and an adult. A chasm. And you can imagine that that's only going to get wider. And the reason why I bring this up is because we all know, let me take that off. The reason why I bring this up is because we all are influenced by the people around us, our friends, certainly our parents, and our teachers. We're in an educational institution. Our teachers influence us. But there's something that I want to explore with you and get you to question a little bit. Our influencers have a perspective. Their perspective is his story or her story. And what is that? That's really their past experience and knowledge. That's their perspective. They use that perspective to give us advice and information. That's their filter. So then we take that information and think, yeah, that's right for us. That sounds right. You know, they know, they're in authority. They understand these things. But if you think about it, that's ridiculous, isn't it? It's really quite ridiculous that you're basing a lot of the stimulus that influences you on historic information that's out of date. Now, remember what I said about how the brains are changing. And you have to think, you know, with older people, it's not their fault. They've got the old brain, you know? The younger brains are the ones that are more, they can multitask. They're more versatile. But it does get you to think about, you know, how much we can learn from children rather than dismissing them. That teacher could have learnt a lot from me. I didn't even know at the time how much that teacher could have. Certainly can learn a lot from me now because I'm aware. I'm aware of my own power. And that's what I want to talk about. What lies beneath? What actually lies beneath all of this? How do we understand the external world? What lies beneath is our true potential. 95% of what we think and what we say is our unconscious brain. 95%. That's what lies beneath. That's your true potential. 95%. If we could only switch off our conscious brains and tap into the greater pool of resources that we have, our unconscious brains, can you imagine what we could do? But you know what? You can. You can do that. So your untapped potential is your unconscious knowledge, and there's so much of it. I want to give you 4 principles to help you to tap into your untapped talent, your uniqueness, your true potential, the things that are beneath your surface. I want you to develop and to grow to be your highest potential. And in order to do that, you need to start to tap into what you already have. It's there. You don't need to ask your parents, your teachers, or the influence. It's there already. You're absorbing it all the time. We all have the modern brain. We just need to develop it. So one of the first principles is meditation. Do you know the power of meditation? I can see Maureen's nodding her head here. The power of meditation is incredible. It's nature's greatest gift. Really, it is. When you think you kind of put on the TV channel, you're plugging into something. Well, you can plug into this through meditation. It allows you to switch off your conscious brain, to quieten the noise down, and to really tune into your unconscious brain. It's untold joy, balance, peace within there, and a huge pool of knowledge and certainty. Isn't it lovely to get up and have certainty? To just know what's right for you. You've got it all here. You've already got it. So meditation is one of the keys to allow you to tap into your unconscious brain, the 95%. So I would urge you to investigate meditation. The other principle is your core values, uncovering your core values. Now, we all have values. We're given these values by our friends, by our parents, by our teachers, all the people that influence us as we grow up. These become our values. But be careful. Are they your values or the ingrained values of your parents? Did they set expectations for you that you've just picked up and run with? Or are they your expectations of yourself, your true potential? What I urge you to do is to investigate what is your true core values. These are your own internal guiding principles that help you along your path. The third point is for you to be happy to be whatever you can be, whatever that may be. So this is about letting go of the blocks that you have set yourself. Like the teacher set a block up for me, and I decided after a period of time that actually that didn't suit me. I'm going to, take another path. But I have to remind you, there are some people that didn't do that, so it's not a great thing. But nevertheless, we all have paths. You put your hands up. We all have that bullshit path. So it's actually allowing yourself to be your true self. And the fourth principle is really about asking yourself 2 questions. Does this make me happy? Is this good for me? And is it good for others? These are the 2 things you need to ask yourself in order to go forward. And you need to have yes for both of those things. If it's good for you and it's good for other people. This is about making your purposeful, meaningful contribution in the world. That's why we're here. This is like your purpose. These are your 4 guiding principles in order for you to go forward and really exceed your potential. Because remember, the potential is what we've decided, but there's 95% of the untold, unlimited potential that we haven't even started to tap into. So you don't really know what your potential is. So don't limit yourself. Just have a purposeful, meaningful contribution and continue to review it using those principles, using the methods of meditation, evaluating your values, and making sure that you're clearing a path to your true potential. So what lies beneath is your untold talent that's already within you. And I want you to go out and discover that for yourself. Because, teachers, speakers, parents, they don't have your answers. What you need to do is go out and uncover the right questions for you. And then discover the right answers for you. The only way you know that is tapping into, connecting with your untold potential, which is what lies beneath your surface. Thank you.